It's every filmmaker's nightmare, having the twist they so carefully crafted spoiled early on, and not even by a loose-lipped early viewer, instead having their flick ruined by their own choices. How embarrassing. Horror movies are especially notorious for having some pretty well-telegraphed twists, so why not take a look at some of the more obvious? This is the top 5 horror movie twists we all saw coming. Let's get to it. Coming in number 5. Brahms isn't gone from The Boy. To avoid confusion, we'll start by clarifying which The Boy we're talking about. We're not talking about Brahms the Boy, we're talking about Brahms from Just the Boy. You know, the first one with the doll and the boy. They should have chose better names for these movies. Okay, let's just talk about how the twist was supposed to be world-altering and ended up faltering. So we meet Greta, a newly appointed nanny with some baggage in the form of a crazy ex. She manages to score a gig that really shouldn't be very hard at all, taking care of a doll. At a stately manor, a pair of parents are at their wits' end, apparently tortured by the loss of their young child years ago. To help with the loss, they acquired a doll in the shape of the lost lad, Brahms. This wife seems insistent that the boy isn't actually gone though. There are all sorts of rules for the nanny to follow in order not to upset the child from beyond. Read extra loud from your books. Ignore the rats in the walls. Be nice. Treat the doll as if it were a real boy who never left home. And did we mention that Brahms is still with us? All of this is supposed to imply that he has stuck around the house as a ghost of some sort and that the house is haunted. Supposedly paranormal events happen often, especially when Greta doesn't follow the rules to a T. But anyone paying even a little bit of attention will notice the impending twist right away. Brahms isn't dead. He's not even missing. The little boy on whom the doll was based is actually a full-grown man now, having fled into the walls of the house. He's lived there for years and is now a deranged, filthy dweller in darkness. So every so-called paranormal event that's happened, every late-night footstep, every horrifying occurrence, it's all been thanks to the grizzled man-child running around behind the scenes. But that shouldn't be surprising to anyone watching because they lay it on thick in the boy. Like, the lad's parents really insist that Brahms is still with them, and that's supposed to trick the audience into thinking like, yeah, he's a spooky specter now, but they just keep bringing it up. Like, make sure you read extra loud near this wall that keeps making noise, you know, so the doll that's in your lap can hear it. Yeah, right, lady. Coming in at number 4, we've got The Wrong City from I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. The verdict is still out on whether anyone expected anything smart from the rushed sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer, but boy, does this movie do dumb twists like nobody else. And they kept making dumb twists the predominant flavor in the subsequent sequels, but we'll focus on the still knowing what one did last summer for now. Remember Ben Willis, the revenge-seeking fisherman from the first one? Well, keep him in your thoughts and prayers for a moment. Alright, so there are tiers to the twists here, but the big one is that these kids aren't supposed to know they've been set up. But here's the thing, is how could they not have been set up? They won a radio contest scoring some free tickets to the Bahamas. Well, how did they win? They answered a skill testing question. What's the capital of Brazil? Brasilia, right? No, they answered Rio de Janeiro, which is the wrong answer, but whoever was giving out plane tickets and hotel rooms just went with it. Why would they do that? Because they wanted to kill these co-eds. Otherwise, they wouldn't have won the contest. You know, like, what is this, high school geography? Getting the capital wrong? Actually, these folks probably skipped geography, to be honest, but anyone with a basic knowledge of world capitals would see through this ruse immediately. And who was behind it all? Well, Ben Willis, of course, with his son, Will Benson. You know, Ben's son, Will Benson? This one's a little more out there, but I can't talk about this movie and not mention that twist. After spending the entirety of the movie pretending to be shocked when folks died, Will stepped up as killer in waiting and shocked the world. And by shocked the world, I mean made a bunch of people groan. Coming in at number 3, there's something about Esther from The Orphan. Going into this movie, it's hard to imagine anyone assuming there wasn't something wrong with the newly adopted orphan. Like, it's all there in the title and on the poster and in all the trailers. Although I suppose that's part of the fun, right? Figuring out exactly what's going on. Apparently nobody at the orphanage has enough research or background check experience though, because they let a big one slip. Not only is the kid a sociopath who's causing all sorts of trouble, she's also not a kid. She's a 30-year-old woman with some kind of growth disorder. That's a twist for the ages, although they do set it up kind of obviously. The ribbons she wears are to cover the injuries she sustained attempting to escape from a straitjacket. She knows all about sex and booze even though she's supposed to be 9. And at one point, Esther attempts to seduce her adoptive father. Yikes. Yeah, the evil orphan twist was telegraphed pretty clearly from the start, and even if the whole she's actually 30 thing was a little more sneaky. Coming in at number 2, we've got losing it from the secret window. Does it count if you saw the twist coming because you read the book first? Probably not, but to be honest, you don't have to read Stephen King's novella to get the twist coming here. Poor Mort Rainey, he's just not who he used to be. In order to ensure solitude and productivity while writing his latest masterpiece, he heads out to a remote cabin in the woods. However, he finds neither of those things out there as a man named John Shooter shows up and starts complicating things. At first, this man claims that Rainey's been stealing his work and backs it up with a story he had written over a year ago. But Rainey knows he didn't plagiarize, so how is this happening? Soon, accusations of academic dishonesty and idea stealing escalate into full-blown murder, so there's that. And of course, the murders are all people related to Rainey in one way or another. Uh-oh, that's a bad look for the aspiring writer. Good thing it wasn't him, right? It was him. This terrible man named Shooter was actually just a figment of Rainey's imagination the whole time. I guess moving out to the middle of nowhere to write your stories after a messy divorce isn't that great for your mental health. So Rainey was playing both parts, the author and the lunatic author turned murderer. But with all the context provided as well as these strange and impossible plagiarism accusations, it's hard to think of it playing out any other way. Plus the way it was advertised pretty much gave it all away from the start. Not exactly the mind-blowing reveal they were hoping for. And coming in at number 1, are we the ghosts from The Others? Sometimes the others are the ones we knew all along, or something like that. This is a movie that suffers deeply from too many clues syndrome. There's just so much happening all the time that gives the ending away over and over again. The Others is all about a young family awaiting their soldier father who is off fighting in World War II. The outlook is grim, but they still hold out hope. But wait, why did these workers show up in my house if the postman didn't pick up the letters that solicited the workers? Why aren't my children able to eat food normally? Why don't I bleed? Why is my daughter being a f***ing weirdo? If you consider the origins to all these questions and then do your best to answer them, you can come away with 2 conclusions. 1. The entire family has all gone insane all at once. 2. The entire family is dead and doesn't know it. And if you chose number 2, congratulations! You are the real deal in seeing plot twists coming. Come on down to the prize desk and pick up your brand new 2001 Toyota Corolla. Wait, did I say brand new Toyota Corolla from 2001? What year is it? How long have I been doing this? Somebody call my mom. Where's the nearest telephone? I'm just joking around, or am I? I'll let you decide whether that plot twist works or not. In the meantime, how'd you like this video? Were you aware of these twists and turns long before the reveal? What's the most obvious twist you've ever witnessed? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more calcified ones from the top 5 most disturbing horror TV shows. Jason Horton says, Halloween is never over. Correct! When the clock hits midnight on November 1st, nothing changes. Spooky season is every season. Donnie Bell says, now I have new horror shows to watch for Christmas. See, Donnie knows. Halloween knows no season. Briar Lee says, nothing good ever happens in the snow, we should get rid of it. Well, you've obviously never had maple taffy after a long day of skiing. For shame. Boohoo2u2666 says, oh yes, I love Hannibal. The imagination of the person that came up with some of those crime scenes is so messed up. Absolutely crazy, right? Although I am sure many people had input on how the final scenes played out. And AMB says, I loved Channel Zero. I had hoped they'd eventually do a season based on the Russian sleep experiment, but I guess that's never going to happen. Sigh. That would make for top-notch TV. Who knows? Maybe after Antosca's Antlers finally hits the big screen, he'll feel inspired again. And that's all the time we have for today. I'm going to climb some trees next to the paper mill. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is the top 5 horror movie twists we all saw. But anyone paying even a little like the blah blah blah. Is that how you say Rio? Rio de Janeiro? Rio de Janeiro? De Janeiro? Yeah? There we go. De Janeiro, who's Brazilian? Come on, guys. Good luck, editors. Pick the one that's right. Well, soon accusations of academic dishonesty and dishonesty. The imagination of the person who the imagination of the person that made up some of those crimes.